The Native American Indians settled along the Rio Grande about 700 years ago. They wanted to be close to water to grow crops. They grew corn and cotton. The Native Americans built villages called pueblos made of adobe. Adobe is earth mixed with water and straw. There are 19 pueblos located around New Mexico, including 8 northern Indian pueblos north of Santa Fe. Each pueblo is a unique community where residents observe the traditions and beliefs of their ancestors. Ancestors are the people in your family who came before you and your parents.
We are from the unknown crevices of America.
Storytelling is an important part of the Native American culture. Culture is the way of life of a group of people.
I think of culture as everything that we do, everything that we have done in the past.
Native Americans preserve their way of life through dance.
We are here at Tent Rocks so we can be able to do 2 dances that we brought from Okewinge. The first one being a buffalo dance. This buffalo dance was handed down to us by our forefathers way back in the olden days. And what we do in this dance is we honor and show respect and appreciation to the animal because it gave our ancestors from way back, to survive by nourishing the food. And then also the hide was used for clothing, for shelter, to warm themselves in the winter months. The bones was used to make utensils, weapons, jewelry. When we do this buffalo dance, sometimes as we notice, the ancestors will come and guide us and give us strength and power so that we may do the buffalo dance in a very good way.
Vocalization and percussion are the main elements of traditional Native American music. Singing is performed in their native language. Native American music is melodic. There is no harmony. Wind instruments played are flutes and whistles. The Zuni Tewa deer dance combines 2 Indian tribes, the Zuni and the Okewinge, the Tewa. This dance honors the deer. Percussion, especially drums and rattles, are used to keep the rhythm steady for the singers and dancers. Traditional Native American music usually begins with a slow and steady beat and then increases in tempo. American Indian drums are large, 2 to 3 feet wide. They are played by groups of singers who sit around them in a circle. Native Americans have created beautiful jewelry, pottery, woven blankets, and beadwork for thousands of years. Today, many Native American artists in Santa Fe work with the tools and techniques of their ancestors. As cultures blend, Native Americans join in celebrations from other cultures. This stilt dance, performed at the Oke Pueblo, is part of the celebration of a Mexican holiday.
We're all part of one community in Santa Fe, and I think that's really important.
We all have to come together as one, and this has been my hope and my dreams.
In 1598, Spanish soldiers under Juan de Oñate came from Spain to find gold and to convert the natives to Catholicism. The Spanish were the first Europeans to explore America. In 1610, Governor Pedro de Peralta established Santa Fe, the oldest capital city in the United States. The Spaniards brought new crops, wheat and chili, and livestock, horses, cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, and chickens.
The horse came into New Mexico with the Spanish, and it truly transformed the landscape in so many different ways because it changed how agricultural practices, how we farmed, our relationship with the land. Not just within those Spanish-Mexican communities, but also within the various indigenous communities.
The Spaniards also brought tools to work the land, the plow and the wheel. They traded goods with the Native Americans. They gave Native Americans wheat, flour, and chili in exchange for corn.
Corn, I think, is another object that transformed the Spanish diet. As wheat and flour was brought up, it also introduced a whole new way of cooking.
In 1680, the Pueblo Indians rebelled against the Spanish, who fled to El Paso del Norte. It took 12 years for the Spanish to resettle New Mexico under Don Diego de Vargas. In 1692, the Pueblo Indian leader of the Tewa and Tano, Luis Tupato, came to Santa Fe to make peace with Governor Vargas. There has been peace between the Spaniards and Pueblo Indians since 1696. By the 18th century, Spanish and Pueblo residents had coexisting cultures. The Spanish adapted many of the Native American traditions. They used adobe to form bricks for building homes.
It shows you how powerful it is when people come together.
A long time ago, a group of people called crypto-Jews came from Spain and Portugal for freedom to practice their beliefs. Many descendants of crypto-Jews now live in New Mexico. This song expresses their thankfulness for their freedom. It is sung in Ladino, a dialect influenced by Spanish and Hebrew. Spanish music, dance, food, and art have become part of the Southwest culture. Flamenco music and dance originated with the gypsies of southern Spain in the 15th century. Rhythm is fundamental to flamenco. If there is no guitar accompaniment, the rhythm is kept by hand clapping. Flamenco dance is known for its strong emotion, upright posture, expressive use of the arms, and rhythmic stomping of the feet. The Spanish have also contributed the art of working with tin and with straw applique. Spanish artists create santos or saints carved from wood called bultos. When a picture of a santo is painted on a flat wooden surface, it is called a retablo. The traditions of the Spaniards have survived in New Mexico for more than 400 years. Hundreds of years ago, Spain ruled Mexico. In 1821, Mexico declared independence from Spain. The Santa Fe Trail was created the same year to allow goods to be traded. Clothing, furniture, tools, silverware, dishes, food, spices, and medicines all traveled to and from Santa Fe. People from Mexico traveled to New Mexico and taught the Europeans about livestock, mining, agriculture, and irrigation. The Mexicans worked as cowboys and helped build the railroads. People from Mexico brought their traditions and celebrations. The Day of the Dead is a celebration on November 1st and 2nd, honoring family and friends who have died. The favorite foods of the deceased are left as gifts. One of the most popular types of music that came from Mexico during colonial times is mariachi. A mariachi group consists of violins, trumpets, an acoustic guitar, a viola, which is a high-pitched 5-string guitar, guitarron, which is a large acoustic bass, and the Mexican folk harp. While these instruments first came from Europe, the sound they make when played together as mariachi music is unique. Mariachi uses contrasting sounds. Listen to the sweet sounds of the violin against the brassy sounds of the trumpet. In mariachi music, the beat changes from syncopation to on-beat rhythm.
The things I like about mariachi are all the feeling that you put into the music. Because in mariachi music, there's a lot of different kinds of cultural music, but it comes from Mexico. But the thing that really differentiates mariachi music from anything else is the feeling and all the excitement that goes into it.
The lyrics of the mariachi songs describe country life in Mexico. They are songs about the people and animals of the region. Mariachi musicians wear charro outfits consisting of a waist-length jacket and tight-fitting wool pants, slightly open at the ankle to fit over short riding boots. The pants and jackets are decorated with embroidery and silver buttons. The diversity and cultural heritage of Mexico is also seen in its folk dances. Hundreds of years ago, Mexican folk dances were performed by the Mayans and Aztecs. When the Spanish arrived in the early 16th century, they brought with them European-style dances, like flamenco, which influenced the Mexican folk dances. Notice the brightly colored costumes and footwork. It is similar to flamenco dance. Mexican influence in New Mexico can also be seen in the art and in the cuisine. Tacos and enchiladas have their origin in Mexico, but have become very popular north of the border. New Mexico has the highest percentage of Hispanics in the United States.
In 1821, the Santa Fe Trail opened to international trade. Many Europeans, mostly from Germany, traveled west on the Santa Fe Trail to trade goods in New Mexico. Europeans set up general merchandise stores selling cloth and supplies. When the railroad arrived in New Mexico, In 1878, it changed everything. Train travel made it much easier to bring people and goods to Santa Fe. Europeans brought their music. They brought the opera and the symphony orchestra with new musical instruments. The symphony orchestra has more than 80 musicians. There are 4 groups of musical instruments: strings, woodwinds, brass, and percussion. The string instruments, the violin, viola, cello, and bass, make up more than half of the orchestra. The violin is the smallest string instrument and has the highest pitch. There are 3 times as many violins as there are violas or cellos. The woodwind instruments are the flute, piccolo, oboe, English horn, clarinet, bass clarinet, and bassoon. The piccolo is the highest woodwind, while the bassoon is the lowest. The brass instruments are the trumpet, French horn, trombone, and the tuba. The brass instruments play the loudest of all the instruments in the orchestra. The 4th group, percussion, is made of lots of instruments from small to large. Percussion instruments are used to provide the rhythm as well as different sounds. The Irish and Scottish came to the United States in the 1800s from Scotland and Ireland. Times were hard in Ireland during the Great Famine. The Irish depended on potatoes for food, and the potatoes were diseased. The people had little to eat and were hungry, so they traveled to the United States for a better life. The Irish and Scottish first came to the large cities in the United States like Boston and New York City. When the large cities became too crowded, immigrants moved west. Many worked on the railroad and many worked in the mines. The Irish and Scots brought their own style of music and dance called Celtic. Traditional Irish dances include reels and jigs. The Irish dancing you see here is called step dance. In step dance, there is rapid leg movements and the body and arms are kept stationary. One of the most important instruments played to accompany the dance is the fiddle or violin. The first Greeks traveled from Greece to Albuquerque in 1915 looking for work. Many opened restaurants. The first Greek community was established in Santa Fe in the early 20th century. The Greeks brought their traditions, including music and dance. Greek dance is a very old tradition passed from generation to generation. In Greece, music and dance were as important as studying reading and writing. The Greeks danced to bring the community together for festivals and celebrations. Every year, the Greek community holds a festival in Albuquerque to honor their culture. They serve authentic Greek foods and perform Greek dances from various regions of Greece. Each dance tells a story. Most dances are circle dances. Each dancer is linked by a handkerchief or by holding hands. These are traditional Greek costumes. The males are wearing skirt-like outfits and tights. The females are wearing long skirts and aprons. Proud parents and grandparents throw money at their children and grandchildren while they dance. As you can see, Groups from all regions of Europe contribute unique forms of music and dance to Santa Fe, making it an exciting place to live. Cultural diversity enhances a region and enriches the people who live there.
It's so important to understand every person, every community, every culture has a story that is worth remembering.
With cultural diversity comes different food, clothing, languages, art, music, and dance. Many diverse groups, in addition to the Native Americans, Spanish, Mexicans, and Europeans, have settled in New Mexico and Santa Fe. Here are some of the other groups. The Japanese first came to New Mexico for jobs. They worked on the railroad and in the mines. Some became farmers. Since the 1940s, Japanese Americans have made significant contributions to New Mexico in the arts, education, agriculture, and architecture. The Japanese in Santa Fe recently formed an organization called the Japanese Intellectual Network, or JIN, to preserve their culture. Here are the JIN singers wearing traditional costumes called kimonos. They are singing a song about the life of a carp, a kind of fish.
The Sikhs came from northern India in the 1950s to escape war. They settled in California and Hispaniola. Sikh music dates back to the 16th century. They sing melodic songs about their gurus or leaders. The Sikhs still wear their customary dress. Men wear turbans to keep their long hair neat. Women wear turbans or long silky scarves. Both men and women wear loose clothing.
Tibetans came from Tibet, a plateau region in Asia. They were seeking freedom, which they did not have in their homeland. The Tibetans formed a community center in Santa Fe in the 1990s to preserve their language, food, clothing, music, and dance. Tibetan music often involves chanting. Tibetan folk dances usually combine singing and dancing, accompanied by musical instruments. The string instruments are plucked or played with a bow. Percussion instruments, drums, bells, and cymbals are part of the dance. Tibetan dancers wear traditional costumes, long silk gowns, hats made of fur, and high cloth boots. Women like to wear bright, colorful clothing and lots of accessories, necklaces, earrings, and bracelets.
Central America is a narrow strip of land connecting North America and South America. In the 1980s and the 1990s, people came from Central America to New Mexico to escape war and poverty. They brought their Latin music and the marimba. The marimba is a percussion instrument. It originated in Africa hundreds of years ago and was brought to Central America in the 16th century. Marimba keys or bars are struck with mallets to make musical tones. The bars are wider and longer for the lowest pitch notes and are narrower and shorter for the higher notes. Syncopation, in which weak beats are accented instead of the strong ones, is a major characteristic of Latin music. Notice how each musician plays a part of the composition. Take away one musician and the piece is incomplete. It takes the entire group to come together to make this beautiful music. It is just like a community. It takes all of the people from all of the different cultures to come together to live in harmony.
Juanito, Maria, Johnny, they all have a story. And I think if we understand that I can learn something from you, and I have something in my story that could teach you something, I think we're going to be a better community.